Hey, how's it going, everybody? I made what I believe to be a really cool magic system based around showmanship, classical magic, and
misdirection.
Okay, so first I want to talk about the theme and idea I really wanted to go for so you can get a look into my thought process. Alright, so when I first began thinking about the system, I wanted to create magic that was solely rooted in showmanship and classical magic, with the main theme being misdirection. See, the thing about a lot of classical magic, like standing on a stage and sawing a lady in half, is that it's based around misdirection. The act guides your attention to one specific place, while the magician does something in another location to make the magic happen. Now, real magicians use many tools, but since this is actually magic, I wanted to make it so much more mystical while still rooted in performance, making the system sort of an art form. Now, when I started coming up with the magic, I didn't want to use mana, so I instead, hopefully I'm the first, coined Celeste, which is just celestial shortened. Alongside naming it differently, I wanted it to function completely differently too. So, Celeste, short for celestial, is an innate magical energy that allows for the use of tricks. Celeste resembles a silvery, sparkling mist that manifests around users when it's in use. Pretty typical so far, but instead of mana, which is usually regained over time after eating or by resting, Celeste is regained when the user feels satisfaction, amusement, happiness, or excitement. It grows and flourishes in response to these emotions. Celeste also grows and recovers when the user experiences joy and amusement from an audience. The better the performance, the stronger the emotional response, which creates more Celeste, creating a feedback loop. It's like a personal rating inside everyone's heart, basically. The next biggest idea I had was to, hopefully I'm the first to do this as well, call the application of magic tricks instead of spells to further mimic the performance aspect of the system. A trick is a manifestation of Celeste shaped through misdirection. It becomes a controlled phenomenon that lets a trickster imitate something, create an effect, or influence the situation, but always through showmanship, perception, control, and misdirection, but not elemental manipulation. The elemental thing is just like a small rule. I just didn't want to have elemental magic be a thing in the system. A trick has two components: how it guides the attention of others and how Celeste forms the phenomena. A trick only works depending on how well a trickster performs the perceived effect. Tricks are ranked based on their misdirectiveness, meaning how difficult they are to see through and how much Celeste is needed to form them. This misdirectiveness is the main component of the entire system. The next thing I wanted to do was come up with a way tricks could be learned and shared like their own magic economy. Most, if not every trick, is studied by others, and whenever someone creates a new one and presents it, there's a contest to see if people can figure out how it works, kind of like that one TV show. Because of that, books and scrolls are filled with lists of tricks, and some dedicated to specific categories, which I'll talk about later, and some that just hold them all. It creates an economy that allows anyone to become a performer, letting them practice an existing trick and eventually add their own spin on it. All tricks can be learned, but more misdirective tricks are harder to learn since they require an initial deepening or understanding of the trick. The first aspect of learning a trick is studying it, watching others perform, or seeing what tricksters do while performing. The second and most important is practice. Through practicing and molding of Celeste, a trick begins to develop, and the satisfaction of getting better only shortens the learning curve. Since satisfaction fuels Celeste, the third and final step is repetition. Constantly performing the same trick improves not only the performance, but how naturally someone can use it. After all this practice, a trickster is able to use a trick. And last, for this particular segment, I want to talk about tricksters, because the people who use the magic are just as important. Tricksters are performers, criminals, or even the average Joe, but they're all people who practice tricks through the molding of Celeste. Being a trickster is like being a freelance artists. There are many different tricksters, but only the best of the best get to be recognized as registered performers, meaning that there's a real show business when it comes to this entire system. Now I'm going to explain the categories, and for each one, the way they use misdirection and trickery is completely different. For the first one, I wanted something very sparkly and gaudy, so I came up with glamour. Glamour style tricks focus on guiding people's eyes away. They create bright, flashing symbols of light that are almost impossible to look away from. I want you to imagine things like Dazzling Gleam, the Pokemon move, and Prism from Dispatch. That's the way I want these tricks to look. These tricks are rooted in spectacle and specialized in getting the attention of others. When glamour style tricks fail, they just may fizzle out or create a light that's far too bright. The next one needed a classical style of performance, something like street magic, so I came up with Sleight. Sleight style tricks are deceptive ones that use illusions and fast, precise movements. Sleight is the complete opposite of glamour, as it's rooted in unseen moments and skillful deceptions. For most Sleight tricks, there's kind of like a hammer space or personal bag of holding effect, which performers that use Sleight tricks can choose. When a Sleight trick fails, For example, a coin trick may make the coins disappear forever and they'll never come back. For the next type, I still wanted street magic, but with the feel of those fortune teller stalls, so I came up with auspicious. Auspicious style tricks are rooted in favor and uncertainty, often using blessings and good luck as a part of the trick. However, I wanted this style to be difficult to pull off, as failure can lead to bad luck or curses for several days. I wanted to make it seem like people getting ripped off by a street magician or just getting a bad fortune. I want to be specific about this category as the next is slightly similar, but when an auspicious trick fails, it might make somebody extremely fortunate, like finding birds everywhere they go, or unlucky in very specific circumstances, like tripping every time you take a left step. For this next one, I didn't want to make an objectively evil magic, but I did want something morally ambiguous, so I came up with occult. Occult style tricks are rooted in secrecy and knowledge gaps. They're capable of divination through various mediums and methods. To clarify, occult style tricks are directly able to see the future, or more specifically, are directly able to divine information, and when they fail, they often show wrong information or something unrelated entirely. Occult tricks are usually withheld from the general public and aren't learned easy. This makes them morally ambiguous, or at least I'd want this to be. Being able to see the future or get information in this manner seems like the best way to do it while keeping my themes. Alright, for this next one, I wanted to change the vibe entirely, something that would make the system even more rooted in performance, so I came up with slapstick. Slapstick style tricks are rooted in comedy and tomfoolery. These tricks cause inane behavior and random occurrences that those who witness them can't help but laugh at. The target of these tricks might slip and fall or get hit by a random object, becoming the center of a joke. I want you to imagine a lot of comedy movies from the late 90s and early 2000s like Ace Ventura and Home Alone. A lot of the comedy in those movies is slapstick, someone falling over or getting hurt, and I believe those examples best explain what this category is. When these tricks fail, the timing is off or they simply aren't funny. I'll be honest, this next one is a musical style of tricks that leans into something orchestral and theatrical. It felt right to add melodic. Melodic style tricks are deeply rooted in musical or theatrical circumstances. They use alluring music and rhythm in a way unlike any other category, stealing the show or drawing the attention of everyone who hears the performance. Melodic tricks are emotional in nature, able to manipulate how people feel, and melodic tricksters can imitate others' voices or replicate sounds they hear. This category, like I said, is just too easy not to add it in, as it properly leans into performance the most. When these tricks fail, they sound horrible or make people feel the wrong emotions entirely. Now, this next one is a bit farther from the general theme, but I was inspired by the current portrayal of green magic in Fiona and Cake. Think of these tricks like a ranger subclass, and they're called sportsmen. Sportsman style tricks aid in hunting and are deeply druidic in nature. They help hunters blend into the environment, replicate animal calls, and appear as plants, all to misdirect prey. Sportsman tricks can help in any environment, rough or gentle, and as I said before, think of sportsman tricks like a ranger subclass. They're like a style of tricks that are tied solely to their environment, and when I was coming up with a name, I didn't want to just say hunter or hunting tricks. An actual title seemed to fit best. When they fail, the user may make the wrong animal call, make it sound too loud or too quiet, or sound distorted entirely. It's also possible for the trickster to end up trapped by their own setup. And for the final and 8th category, I felt the system needed a more athletic and martial kind of category, so I came up with gymnast. Gymnast style tricks are rooted in physicality and flexibility. These tricks allow the user to contort their bodies and strengthen their bodies. Gymnast style tricks allow tricksters to be extremely athletic, leaping far higher and farther than any other trickster could dream of. When these tricks fail, the trickster may fall flat on their face, missing the landing, or jump way further than needed. I'm not gonna lie, this one's a late edition. I literally added it just this morning. I thought this one was way better than the previous one, which you will never know. And that is all 8 categories within the system. Let me know which one is your favorite. Alright, this is the last segment of the video. It's really just like a terminology reminder. So to give a quick summary, Celeste is the energy used in the system, and tricks are fueled by Celeste, and tricksters use and practice learning new tricks. That's pretty much everything. And that's the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think I can improve upon. I feel like personally I didn't really describe a lot of the categories well enough, but there's also a little bit of a setting I'm working on for this entire magic system. So if you guys want to see that, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing, and also a comment down below. But don't forget this.
Fear God, love Jesus.
Peace.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.